coffee, then I'll go. Thought that
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Come inside, come inside. Yeah, you could tell what I was doing this morning. Welcome to the channel, Grand Colombia. Welcome to Coffee Time Live. We're just over 3 years doing that. And it's every Sunday, 11 a.m. Colombian time. And follow it up with questions and answers. Now, today you can see I took it on the road and we're doing it live on location. Okay, so it's a green screen in my bedroom. So today we're going to cover one topic. We did this last week. I got some pretty good feedback on it. And to be honest with you, when I do the video, it's got so much editing. And when I do live, it's all in the setup, which is much easier for me, much better than doing the editing. So this week, it's one topic. We're going to talk about health insurance. It's a big one. I'll talk about my experience, but I'll give you some details. And I want to clue you in right now. I'm going to put some slides up. Yes, some slides. And you're going to want to know the information on those slides, but I'm going to be moving right on so you won't have time to read it. The point is, the point is, once this is all done, you can go back and then you can stop it and then you can read it for an hour if you want to. So I'm putting it up there. You probably won't have much time to read 2 or 3 of them that you may want to, but that's the reason why. So don't panic. It's not going anywhere. Good morning from Washington. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. James, how are you? How you doing? Haven't talked to you in a while. Mr. Taco. Well, that's actually, instead of Lorney, that's Lauren. Arriba. California. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Speaking of overstepping our bounds, just to give you a quick update before we get into the health insurance, if you're going to Medellin this weekend or if you're in Medellin, understand that there's a lockdown from 5 p.m. and it's an actual lockdown. Like you won't be able to get home deliveries. Everything's closed, and that's through Monday. Okay, so it's just tomorrow, right? Not so bad. Except they just announced last night, I think, that they're going to move it up to 6 p.m. So you're basically going to be shut down from 6 p.m. on till the end of the week when they'll reevaluate it again. They haven't figured out that the lockdowns don't do a damn thing to help anything either way. They just haven't figured it out. And half of the USA hasn't figured it out. The other half have, but that's just the way it is. Will slides be on the quiz? Absolutely. Fresh espresso beans. Awesome. Yeah, okay. Funny with the Lorney. In high school, my senior year, I was kind of known as a serial dater, I guess you would say. And I got this nickname and I absolutely hated it, but they called me Horny Lorney. And I hated that name. So it's very cringe. Colorado, good morning from the true north. Welcome back, my friends, to the virus that never ends. Absolutely. Okay, let's get on with it. We're going to talk about you can't even go outside, stay at home order. Yeah, that's what they say. Here in Armenia, they did institute a curfew at midnight till 5 in the morning. So, for me, that's fine. I'm not up that late anyway, but everything's normal. Everything's open, except we still have this stupid mask thing. All right. Without further delay, get tired of the cliches, right? Hello again from Helsinki. All right. Health insurance. Look, it's a slide. Yes, I was busy. Took me all of 2 minutes. First of all, you need to understand that you're required to have health insurance, the basic health insurance anyway, here in Colombia if you have a visa. Now, if you come on the 90-day, I think you might have to have traveler insurance these days, but in the past they never ask or question. And to get your first visa, it was never a big deal, even though in the law it requires that you have insurance. Well, if you don't have your cedula, you can't get Colombian insurance. So your first visa, you don't have your cedula. So what do? Well, you have to have outside insurance. And I already mentioned on the visa, the answer on the why didn't I get a 3-year visa like is typical? I only got a 1-year or a 2-year visa. It's because it's always been in the law that it's up to the discretion of immigration. And so what they've done now is when you go to get your first visa, they look at your insurance. And if your health insurance policy is a year or less, you only get 1-year visa. If it's 2 years, then you get a 2-year visa. If it's never ending, you get a 3-year visa. I came in before COVID, so I got a 3-year visa. But if I came in today, I would have a 1-year visa. Well, actually, in my case, I might get a forever because it doesn't matter. But that's just how it's working. So the basic health insurance is EPS. It's what it's called, the EPS insurance. Now, this is one I'm going to skip right over. Here's the coverage. I'm putting it up so you can go back after this video is over. And if you want to see some specifics on coverage, it'll be here. And if you want to see the exclusions, it'll be here. The exclusions are common sense. There's nothing experimental. There's no cosmetic things. It's simply real health issues. Okay. This comes up a lot. Is EPS public or private? As it says here, in Colombia, the insurance of healthcare is almost entirely in the hands of private EPS, private health insurers. I've talked about this at some length, and it's why it runs in the black and it's not bankrupt all the time, like in Ecuador, where it's a government-run program. The EPS, the health insurers, are supervised by the Colombian government, and it's regulated by the government by government legislation. Yeah, I can talk. So you've got government protections, but the program was designed, implemented, and is actually conducted by private entities. It's worked out really well for Colombia. It's one of the reasons they're so highly rated on the world stage. Here's some national EPS carriers. This is actually, I believe, all of them as of last year. Now, the ones at the bottom of the food chain come and go. You know, they just make bad decisions. They run a bad business. They go broke. So you have a consistent group at the top that are just there year after year that, run a good show. Just a little bit of information here, the best and worst. The two best are considered to be Sura, which is what I signed up for, and Sanitas, which in Armenia, it's a toss-up between those two as to which is the best. That group that I just showed, these aren't going to be available in every city. So in Armenia, there's only about 13 of this list that are available. In Medellin, Bogota, Cali, wherever, they're going to have their own list. The main ones are probably going to be there. Sura, Sanitas, they're pretty much always going to be there because they're huge. But a lot of these won't be available. So in Armenia, there's about 13 Sura and Sanitas at the top of the list. Sometimes Sanitas is considered better, sometimes Sura. And that decision was made by a satisfaction survey that's taken throughout the year, every year, year after year. Now, the worst, got it up here. Comiva is actually here in Armenia. They've got a pretty strong presence here, actually, but they're considered the worst. And one of the reasons they're considered the worst is they got these tremendously long wait lines. It might take you a month to get in, and then once you get there, you show up at your appointment, and you're standing there for 3 hours waiting for your appointment. That'll get you a bad review every time. I thought I would put this up. Now, as far as best reputation, which is different than the satisfaction survey, but the opinion of people, whether they have Sanitas or not, is that they are the best in Colombia. There's nothing to really base that on. That's just people's opinion. Oh, I heard that, or something like that. But I thought I'd throw it up here anyway. In other words, they're very highly respected. Good morning. No name. Oh, I don't want to do the cost yet. So let's see. Let me pull this off. And I want to put something else up here if I can find it. Here we go. Okay, this is the website of Sanitas. And this is the website for Sura. So if you want to go to Sura, you would type in epssura.com. And if you wanted to go to Sanitas, you would type in epssanitas.com. Now, you used to go to one of the offices. You would pick your insurance company. You would go to one of the offices, and you would sign up in the office. Well, they don't do that now. As a matter of fact, they've actually shut those offices down with no plans to reopen them because now they don't have to staff it. They don't have to pay for rent. I guess one of the benefits of COVID. So that leaves you to have to do it on the internet. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about what I went through. First of all, I didn't have it until recently because I have insurance through Veterans Administration out of country. It's a special one. It was only, you only got it if you were within about a 10-month period back during Vietnam, and everybody didn't get it, but I got it, so I'm covered out of country. And if there was anything serious, they pay to fly me back to the nearest VA hospital, and everything's covered 100%. I never pay for anything. And as a matter of fact, if I need to do outpatient, they'll pay for a hotel room until whatever that is over. So I haven't had to worry about healthcare because of that. But not many people have something like that. So I didn't worry about it because in the past, Colombia never really followed up on these things. But post-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID, one, they need to collect a lot of money because they're financially, hurting like everywhere. And they don't print it up like, well, anyway, stay away from the political commentary. And also, it gave them a little awareness of they don't want to cover the cost of if people need it when they're here. It just wasn't an issue before, and now it's become an issue. All right, let me move to something else here. Come on, mouse. What's going on? My mouse is going crazy. Sorry about that. Okay, so now this was actually brought to my attention by somebody who watches the videos, and it was a while back. Her and her husband went to renew their visa and found out that they weren't paying the full amount for insurance. Now, what does that mean? When you sign up for insurance, what happens is you sign up based on the minimum amount. And that works out to about 113,000 pesos. I'm going to go over this in a minute, I'll pull a slide up with this information. So if you were paying that, what happens now if you go in to renew your visa, they take a look and see for the last 6 months what's been going on with your health insurance. One, do you have the required EPS? Because once you're here on whatever, travel insurance or whatever, you have to then get the Colombian EPS insurance, which is okay. It's a good plan. It's very cheap. But what they did was they looked to see, okay, you are paying the minimum, but now you owe the difference between what it should be for you versus what the minimum is. And so they had to go back and back pay, a pretty good sum of money that was a total surprise to them. They added to the visa renewal requirements your last 6 months of your bank account and your health insurance information to make sure that you're paying the correct amount. So hold on, let me look here. Okay, so that's why I said, okay, I'm going to have to get the health insurance now because of, what's going on. So I check out to see if I can go to an office. I find out, they're not doing the office anymore. So I go online. And the problem with online, and this would make a video, I think, of, what negatives do you run into in South America and in Colombia. It's not just a Colombian thing. It seems to be everywhere. And that's websites. They are really kind of frustrating because it doesn't matter how big they are. It could be Bank of Colombia. It could be, it doesn't matter how big they are. They're full of problems. They're full of glitches. You click on, you fill out a form and you fill out the next form and you go 4 pages down and now you're going to go to the 5th one, which is going to complete the process, and it kicks you to a 404 error page and you lose everything. Things like that happen all the time. So I go on to the EPS Sura website and I decide that I'm going to sign up. So I click on the things that I need to sign up. I go through, I run into some obstacles, but I get past it and it actually submits the form for me. And I get an email confirming that the form is submitted. And I wait and I wait and I wait. And a week and a half, I think, went by. And I sent an email saying, hey, what's going on? I signed up. I haven't heard anything. You signed up in the wrong category. Now, understand there's no explanation of what category you should sign up in. You actually need somebody from Sura to explain it. I mean, the process of elimination out of I think the 6 categories, I was able to eliminate maybe 3 or 4 of those. But from, I think, there were 3 that was kind of a guess. And so I sign up on the one that didn't work. So I go back into the website and I choose another one. Same thing happened. I was trying to sign up on this thing for about 2 months. So I go back in, I do the 3rd one. Same thing happens. Well, now I've hit all 3. I'm still not getting any answer. They emailed back instructions that made no sense. They were talking to me like I was an independent contractor, but I was Colombian. and so I couldn't get them to understand. So I talked to my friend Natalie, and she said, I got a friend who works in the Sura administration office, whatever. Really? So she sends off, I think she called her. But anyway, she contacted her friend, and her first friend she had several there. We wasted a day or 2 and they couldn't do it. So that person transferred her to, or referred her to someone else. So the someone else was right on it, filled everything out. I sent, my information of the forms I had filled out. She refilled everything out, made sure that everything was correct, and said, here's an account number. Go pay 160,000 pesos to initialize this. Send me the receipt, and you should have your insurance within 3 to 5 days. So I did that, and I did. I had my insurance in 3 to 5 days. I don't remember. It was 5 days or less. It was pretty quick. And then I pay $113,000 every month thereafter. Okay, so let's get back to. This doesn't go real quick here. Share screen. And I'm sharing screen with this one. Okay. We're going to go to the cost. So the initial cost is calculated out at 12.5% of the basic minimum salary, which as of this moment is 908,526 Colombian pesos. And so that amounts to 113,000 Colombian pesos a month. But the legal cost, if you're here as like me, if you're here on a visa, I'm on a retirement visa, then the actual legal cost is 12.5% of 40% of the income that you reported to them, which, if you're smart, you only reported your Social Security, because the rest, there's no benefit in doing that. You're just going to hurt yourself. So as an example, if your Social Security is $1,400 a month, which is the average is actually $1,367 or something like that, but I rounded it to $1,400. Get out of there. Then it's 40% of that amount, which comes to $560 times 12.5%. It amounts to $70 a month, or in Colombian pesos, give or take 250,000 Colombian pesos. Still quite reasonable, but if you've been here for a couple years and you've been paying the 113,000, when you show up, then you're going to owe the difference for those months. So that's an issue. So now you say, well, you went to Natalie, aren't there agents? Well, the problem with the agents is it's going to be very difficult to find any that will actually lift a finger to help you, because they make little to nothing on the EPS insurance. And so they just don't want to be bothered. But there are sometimes some that will do it just out of being nice. Now, I will mention that on the Medellin webpage or Facebook page, there is a particular health insurance agent that's promoted there. And I did send off an email back before I asked Natalie, look, I'm frustrated. Is there any way you can help me with this? And she said, well, you're talking about the EPS insurance. We don't get involved in that. You're on your own. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially the way it was. It was kind of a rude email back to me. So I asked around. That's what I found out. They're just not going to make money off you, so they're just not going to bother. Good information, spot on, everything. I just received my EPS Sura Medellin last week, paid my first bill online. Every step becomes an issue, every step. After a month of attempts, I ended up finding a local Paisa lady who offers her service to help people process their application. Yeah, and you don't necessarily know who it is, but the best thing is if you make friends. I always, even though I'm antisocial, I make a point to make friends, and I've got dozens of friends here in Armenia. And so, I just reach out and say, hey, I'm running into this. You have any ideas? You know what I can do? In Natalie's case, she just said, yeah, let me take care of it for you, which is awesome. So, that's the way to do it. Back when they had the office, that wasn't an issue, but it is an issue now. So, that's where we're at with that. Let me remove this. Remember, you can go back and take a look at that. And stop screen. Share screen. Oh, there should be a quicker way to do this. Where is it? Where is it that I'm trying to find? I don't see it. There it is. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. Can I make this? Can I enlarge it? Yes. So you'll see over here, get a little bit bigger. So that's what they based it on, the 908, the tariff, the 12.5%, and that's what I pay monthly. Now, I'm asking if it's possible that I can get this moved up to the correct amount. I've already asked the person who set this up at the office, and they didn't know what I was talking about. This is what they charge. That's the way it is, and didn't want to do it. But it needs to be more. So what I'm doing is I'm setting aside the 100 and some thousand every month so that when I go to get the visa, I'll have the money. Because if I don't do that, I won't have the money. So that's how I'm handling it. But I will continue to try to get them to charge, because you never know, emergencies come along. You say, okay, well, let me use, I don't want to use it because I don't want to have problems with my visa when the time comes. And there's one other thing. Where is it? That's it. Share. Boom. And this is a little certificate they sent to me. It's in Spanish, of course, but it's got basic information. I've got full coverage, and they give you a little wallet card that you can cut out and carry in your wallet. You can get it laminated if you want, but they just send it to you as an attachment. Then you got to print it off and go someplace and laminate it, but it's not really necessary. And one of the I would say that one of the nice things, or at least convenient things, let me blow this up. You'll see on this line under Certifica, Cedula, the foreigner Cedula number 889832. That's my Cedula number. It's also my driver's license number. It's also my account number with my health insurance. So everything is that one number, which is kind of cool. Whoa, somebody just sent me, without a name, Canadian, $50. I thank you. I really appreciate that. First World sucks. Euro dude just joined. What EPS you got? EPS Sura. I'm with Sanitas, which is one of the two best. Surus is the best, but it's private. No, Sura is also EPS. Sanitas also has private. The problem is once you're over 60, you probably can't get any of the add-on insurance. You have your private insurance, then you have your EPS, and with the EPS, you can upgrade it. And there's, like with Sura, there's 3 levels of upgrade. The third level, I looked at this kind of pointless, but the second level, pretty good. And if I were under, I think it was 62, which I'm over, if I were under 62, I would probably opt to, find the money and get that, because it covers a lot of things like private room, TV in the room. It eliminates all your co-pays, which don't amount to much. Like your medicine copay might be 70 cents to $1, things like that. But still, there are a lot of benefits in the mid-tier. But if you're like me, you're too old, they won't let you get it. It's quite a change in climate, huh? Pesos, the correct amount. Yeah, that's true. But, well, you'll see when you go to renew your visa, just keep that in mind. Thanks. You see, that's what I keep getting from where they sign me up is no, that's the right amount. And I know it's not the right amount, but that's where immigration isn't talking to health insurance and health insurance is not talking to immigration. And the law is what immigration is doing. It's just that all the people in the health insurance office have been doing it this way for years. And so that's all they know. It's just how it goes. Thanks for your work. It's Canadian, so I think it's worth about $1.50 American. Yeah, but here in Colombia, it's probably, at least $35. So to obtain a visa for a year, I must have a specific minimum amount of health insurance. And what if you have savings and no income? Well, that's, getting a visa, that's visa question. As far as the health insurance part of this question, what I said was you have to have some kind of health insurance. So if you come here and let's say you got a 90-day traveler insurance policy, you'll still get a 1 year if you're trying to get a visa, like a resident visa, you'll still get a year. That's as low as they go. So if you're approved for visa because you have health insurance at the moment, then you get a 1 year visa. It used to be you automatically got a 3-year visa. Now, everything that's different has always been in the law. They just made it so easy before, and now they're using the specifics of the law. So if you have a health insurance policy that expires in 2 years, then you can get a 2-year visa. They will judge it based on the health insurance instead of you don't get an automatic 3 years anymore. Now, when you go to renew, you can't renew unless you have the health insurance up to date, paid up, the way it's I've described, in which case you then get another, or you get your second visa as a 3-year. There's that. It's common practice to sign up with a minimum, even if your income is way more. It used to be common practice. People that are doing it now will have a rude awakening when the time comes. And that's what I'm warning you about. It used to have no consequences. It's the way it was. It's how they signed you up. It's not even what you requested. It's just what they did. But now when you go to immigration to get your visa, they look at those records. And if you've been paying $110, but you're getting your visa on, say, the $1,400 a month retirement money, you're going to have to pay the difference or you won't get the visa. So that's what I'm warning you about. So just because they charge you that means nothing. It's just not the way it works anymore. Okay, so it's Q&A time. It's time to start asking your questions. Remember, 4 question marks first, then ask the question. All right, so I'm already resident, so I'm over the, not until, you're going to want to check on that. Until you're a citizen, you're still got to worry about it. Because I'm a resident also, but, well, I don't want to go into the visa stuff today, today's health insurance, but I'm just giving you a heads up. That's just not the way it works. Can I use my VA insurance TRICARE? There are so many different VA insurances that very, very few have the one I have. In most cases, no, they won't cover you out of country. They won't reimburse you. Actually, in almost all cases, I'm like 0.1% or something. There are very few people that got the one that I got that will cover out of country. You can still get VA, but you have to travel to get it. And because of that, because you're not covered in country, they won't recognize it. That means you're here uninsured. here with my wife, so I'm paying nothing. Well, yeah, I'm not going to get back and forth with you. I'm giving you the heads up. I know how it was, and I know how it is now, and it is now different. If you're in Colombia without a visa, what is the penalty? Well, I ran into that. I did the Man on the Run 3 videos about how I illegally entered Colombia. It was a situation. It wasn't intended. It wasn't planned. But I ended up with no 90-day stamp, no passport, no visa, nothing. And I was running in fear. I got stopped in Popayan and got a shakedown by the cops, which I was actually very fortunate. It's a long, complicated story. But the bottom line was, when I got to the embassy and I got my new visa, I questioned them about what would have happened if I got caught. And they said, what typically happens, there is some discretion, but usually what happens is they will throw you in jail, then they will take you to the border, kick you out at the border, and you cannot enter for 5 years. And when you do enter, there's a fine that amounts to several $1,000s. Well, all my worldly possessions had been sitting in Manizales, and that's why I took the chance. Like I said, it's a long, complicated story. It was a 3-video episode about me living in fear, riding on buses, hoping I don't get caught, getting everything taken care of. But they're pretty serious about it here. There aren't open borders here. They're very serious about it. All right, let me go back. There were some questions. I was planning on keeping year-long international travel health insurance specific for being in another country. Well, that's not really a question, but yeah, you can do that. But if you get a resident visa, okay, so you're here on the 90-day and maybe you extend it to tourist visa, that's fine. That's what you're supposed to do. But let's say you applied for a resident visa while you were doing that. Once you get your resident visa, you are required by law to get the EPS insurance. Again, in the past, it was hit or miss. Chances are they'd never bother you. Now they're making sure that everybody does because they need the money. Donald the Explorer, thank you for that comment. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Groomy, what if I don't have U.S. health insurance? How long can you stay in Colombia without insurance? You're not supposed to enter Colombia without insurance. Now, they may or may not check at the airport, but you're supposed to have travel insurance. Again, it's been there for a long time. It's just it wasn't enforced. And so the enforcement may be hit or miss, but I would suggest to stay out of problems that you have some kind of travel insurance if you're just coming to visit. Let's see, covered that. For a person coming to Colombia with travel insurance who is planning on applying for a retirement visa, how long of a travel insurance period should I have or come with? You get your visa 10 days. So you come here, you got a 90-day visa. You can have your, it'll be a 1 year, the first one, your residency retirement visa. You'll have it, apply for it right away. You'll have it, within 10 days after that. And then you can go get your cedula. Then you can sign up for EPS. And all of this is easily done within the 90-day period. If you actually get going on it, you can do all of this in, half a month. So don't wait till the end, but, do your first month. Then in your second month, concentrate. Because your first month, you're going to want to see, it's exciting, you look around, whatever, find a place to live. But on your second month, set aside a couple of weeks to really pay attention to this and focus on it. If anybody's interested in a really good visa agent that's in the Pareda, Manizales, Armenia area, send me an email. Oh, last week, there were a couple guys that had some questions, wanted to send me an email, never got it, never sent it. You might want to do that. for the duration of your visa, well, what I've been told by the visa people is that for the first one, they will accept it and give you the 1 year if you have insurance, because they then expect you to go get the EPS insurance. So it'd be for the duration of that visa. Now, of course, for the 90-day, if that's what you meant, then you're exactly right. It should be for the duration of that 90 days. But I think that's usually the minimum that the travel insurance does it anyway. Why would people sign up for the very low rated EPS companies? I have no idea. I've asked that very same question, and I'll tell you the answer I've gotten a few times, but I don't know. I could be giving you fake news here, but I've asked people here in Armenia when I was talking about, who would you use? I talked to a lot of people that I knew. It's like, what's your experience? What do you go through? How is it to schedule? All of these kind of questions. And so I asked that question, why would anybody sign up for these crappy ones that could go out of business or whatever? And they said, and I got the same answer, I don't know, count them on one hand probably, that these companies offer certain incentives. So they might waive a medicine deductible of $1, or there'd be certain perks. I don't know exactly what these are, but they said that they give them benefits to save a few dollars. Well, if you're really, really poor and you can't figure out where you're going to get your next dollar, that could make all the difference in the world. So I think they entice people in by offering up things, but then they end up, you get horrible service, but it's discounted. But I don't know. I don't know. Looking a year minimum to work towards permanent. Assuming, thanks. LOREN. Come on, guys, get it right. You can only sign up for the EPS after 1 year. No, you sign up for the EPS as soon as you have your cedula. So you could be here for 2 weeks and go sign up for EPS insurance. You can't sign up for it without your cedula, but you have your cedula means you got a visa. And if you have a visa, then you're required to have it. So you get your cedula, you go sign up for it. Is there an agency in Colombia that takes care of all the paperwork and just sends me the bill when everything is done? Not for EPS, because there's no money in it. That's why, I got Natalie to do it for me. Somebody there in Medellin found somebody that would do it for them. It's not all that complicated. I've been through it now. Maybe if I went back, I could avoid all the pitfalls and sign up okay. But as I was going through it for the first time, particularly the way this is now, because locally, when I was asking a few people, they said, just go down to the office. Well, yeah, they're not open anymore. Everything's changed. So is there an agency? Not really, but you can find informally people that will do it for you. If you need to have traveler's insurance before you qualify for EPS, didn't say that. Are there any companies selling traveler insurance you can recommend to buy? No, the traveler's insurance has nothing to do with qualifying for EPS. Nothing at all. Traveler insurance is to do with visa, getting in the country, and what kind of insurance you're going to or what kind of visa you're going to have, be it a 1, 2, or 3 year visa. I can't recommend because I've never used one, never needed it. So I don't know. 6 months of travel insurance with the required coverages comes to 600 Canadian for me. I would suggest if you're coming here and it's in your plan to get your retirement visa, that you just get your 3 months, come here with your 3-month, 90-day stamp, and do as I said in your second month. Go get your visa. You'll have your cedula. You can get your EPS. You're set. You're covered. You don't have to worry about it. Why spend money on the extra 3 months? Besides medical coverage, is dental and meds an option that can be included? Medicine is included. Dental is included as far as it won't be cosmetic, but if you've got to have a tooth pulled or something like that, that's included. Go back and read the exclusions and the included. So all of your real health emergencies, like if you got an impacted tooth or infection or something like that, that's going to be covered. But if you want to get dentures, then that's not covered. I don't believe. There was no list that said that specifically. What they did, there's a number of statements where they explain the type of things that wouldn't be covered. You go read it, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Some doctors only work with certain EPS. If you have the wrong EPS, you're out of luck, which could be a problem if you live in a small city. That's it's not supposed to be that way, but I know that's true. But the thing is, if you're going to get EPS, no matter where you are, it doesn't affect your cost. So you might as well get one of the top 1, 2, or 3. And if you have one of those, you won't have an issue with your doctor. What is the current processing time for the government here to approve a retirement visa? As I said, you can have the entire process done within 10 days. In Canada, Pacific Blue Cross is probably the best deal that I could find. So they don't need to see that you have had the insurance for the last 6 months prior to entry. No, they wouldn't care. They don't care, before you come here, they could care less if you had insurance or not. That doesn't affect them. They're only trying to, hey, you got my name right. They're only trying to make sure that you're covered while you're in Colombia so nobody has to pick up the tab. What if you just wanted to stay there for 6 months and go back to the States 6 months and return back for 6 months as a snowbird? If you do that as the 90-day and then extension on the tourist visa, then you don't need to buy the EPS, but you will still have to have travel insurance. You'll probably find it's a heck of a lot cheaper to go ahead and have the travel insurance even for the 6 months when you're not here. But that's something, you're going to want to figure out yourself. But if you can't get the EPS. Yeah, you would have to have some kind of more permanent visa other than tourist visa to get the EPS. All right. So what if you want, let's see. If you're a member of AARP, they seem to have good traveler's insurance. I've heard that. I don't know if it's the case. Also, the AAA has travel insurance that I understand is pretty decent. American Express, if you have American Express card, it's from what I understand, I used to have one, but like I said, I've never used travel insurance. But I used to get these things, and from what I recall, the travel insurance wasn't that expensive if you have American Express. One more summer in Vancouver, Canada, and I'm out of here. I would only want to be there in the summer. It's a beautiful place that time of year, but I don't know. I don't miss all that cold. It was a little cool today. I didn't give you my weather report in the beginning. Here in Armenia, it was a little overcast this morning. It started out about 64 degrees, and by about 10:30, it got up to 70 degrees. Actually, when I started this, it was at 70 degrees. And it's still a little overcast, but above the clouds, it's all blue sky. You can see it, but there's just a huge cloud layer. So it's pretty gorgeous, actually. With a cloud layer, you don't get any of that sunlight, direct sunlight. So you're shielded from the equator level death ray. and therefore the temperature, is altitude based now with the overcast, and it's just beautiful. I love this 70, 72, 68 degree weather. It's been like this a lot the last few months. It's just been perfect. Okay, we got any other questions? Is it Vancouver's lowest land? No coffee. Well, as always, I had my coffee this morning. This is my blackberry juice. Love it. Last call for questions. Thank you again for the contribution. I really appreciate it. I was at the Parque del Cafe last weekend and forgot sunscreen. Parque del Cafe. That's the amusement park. I did a video on that. I actually want to do one. I want to do another one because something happened that day and I could only stay for half of the day, which means I really only covered barely half of the park. And I want to go back and cover the rest of the park. And so I'm going to try to do that in the next couple months. It's kind of their Six Flags over whatever, Seven Flags or whatever those amusement parks are. I mean, I love Disney World, and I never cared so much for the pure amusement parks. But here they've got one, and it's coffee themed, and there's shows, and it's quite an extravaganza, and I would say it's a must see. Pretty cool place, but it can be tired. You can walk around and, it's a lot of walking. And okay, not anymore. Second most expensive city on the planet, and as many junkies as LA or Portland. I don't know about that. Yeah, okay. It's hard to stay away from the commentary. Yeah, won't disagree. Any other questions? Last call. All right. We're gonna wrap it up here. Let me get to my final. Appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, you can go to grandcolumbia.live, go to contacts, and you'll find out my email address, everything you could imagine. Didn't you do a video on the coffee theme park? Yes, I did a video. That's what I was saying. I want to do another one because I actually only got to cover half of it. I had to leave halfway through, and it's bothered me ever since. I didn't do it full justice. I want to go back and do the rest of the park, or I may just redo the entire thing. I don't know. Have a good week. Thank you. And thank you. I really appreciated it. People, man. How about a future talk on taxes? See, the tax topic, that's one I really have to stay away from because it's almost an individual situation. There are some things in general. All I can tell you is don't volunteer income that you don't have to. Keep your U.S. or Canadian bank and just draw your retirement through debit cards or something like World Remit, where it's only a couple dollars to, send money to yourself. And even now, what I did, I have Capital One account, which is awesome, no fees, and it's great to work with, actually, believe it or not. But I opened the savings, which I had never needed before, but I opened it. So now I can print a separate bank statement. I was going to get another bank, and I'm thinking, that doesn't even make sense. Why don't I just do that? Because they'll be connected to each other, but it can print a separate statement. So now I have Social Security. I changed the deposit to the savings, so that when I have to show the 6-month bank statement, I show that. And that way, anything that comes in, like my Canadian $50, will go into my main account. And so I won't get taxed on it in Colombia. And like I explained, it's not like I'm cheating anybody. In the United States, which is where I have to account for that, and it goes through a U.S. bank, they take into account whether there's expenses. So if I got $50 that comes in, but I got $60 in expenses, which is the way it usually works out, then I don't have to pay a tax in the U.S. But here in Colombia, they don't look at the expenses. They only look at that as income, and I would have to pay a tax. So I could be already losing money on the proposition and set myself up to lose even more. So it's best to keep it, only do what you have to do. That's just my advice. The best thing about Vancouver, the mountains near the border with Alberta, it is gorgeous. Hasta luego. Yeah, we got to go. All right, that's it. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Tracy, happy Easter to you also. And see you next week.